Our next candidate is Adrian Pelkus.
Hi, y'all. Good afternoon. Nice seeing you here. Randy, Josh, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Adrian Pelkus. I am a serial inventor and entrepreneur. I've chosen the profession of inventing because, well, it fit me best. I started in 1985 a product development company called A Squared. Since then, I've helped develop over 300 products, seen them in their paths to market. I've also been a consultant and a coach, having started an inventors club in San Diego Inventors Forum. One time I had 1,500 on the mailing list. I've personally coached over the 13 years that I ran that club, over 1,000 inventors one-on-one. I dedicate every Thursday, as a matter of fact, and still do to this day, to talk to inventors to see what their ideas are and where they're at, where they're trying to go, and how we can help them get there. Along that path, I've been named on 17 issued patents, a lot of them for my own creations, mostly in medical or environmental products. I have the experience through all of these, especially on the companies I started my own, of using my intellectual property as the basis to raise funds. So I've raised hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars on some projects to go from initial concept through design into manufacturing and bring it to market, customer accepted devices and products. This career has been quite rewarding and quite costly at the same time. Some things were great successes, others were great failures, and I have the scars and the trophies from both. The experience with the club brought me again one-on-one to talking to so many people and witnessing what they were at, where they were at, and their concerns about all these things. And it was back in 2015, Randy introduced me to what was going on, and I became very concerned. It was HR 9 at the time that we were opposing. And Steve, I remember you there too. We all flew in, and a small group of us were the first voices ever to be actually heard in Washington that actually had a dissenting opinion on the idea that, yeah, they should pass a bill that actually punished our investors if we lost a case. Very happy we got that turned around, but the road hasn't ended. And those of you know me and read the record, I was very active in helping USI get started, very proud of that. Was very active in going to Washington and trying to get the legislators there to come to an understanding that there are issues here that it's quite dear to the heart. Our country's forefathers knew that the freedom to prosper off their own ideas was going to make this a great country, and in fact did. It was patents that made America great. And what we've witnessed here in the last few years is the erosion of those rights. The right, again, only used in Article 1, was always considered a property right, a personal property right, and that's been eliminated with a Supreme Court decision. The actions that have been taken on by Congress, though, have been even more detrimental. The American Invents Act has been a complete failure. It's been intellectual suicide. I've watched and witnessed the destruction of our patent system to the point where now I have inventors that don't even want to go near the U.S. Patent Office because they know and they feel now that they can get better protection in China. And it's so sad. I'm a veteran, a U.S. veteran. So to say these things and hear myself saying them, that our patent system isn't first in the world, reminds me of that day when I was watching Daryl Issa at a town hall meeting, first proposing all of these ideas. And his the first thing came out was it's the first inventor to file is going to be the leader. And I stood up saying, why are we dumbing down our system? His answer is, well, we want to be like the rest of the world. And I went, well, why don't we make the rest of the world want to be like us? I still think we should go back to those terms. This was a huge mistake, and things about the injunctive relief and other things have absolutely crippled the incentives of the American inventor to come forward and create legacies, new ideas, and new products. We need some representation at the patent office, and I'd be happy to represent the small American inventor, if only to be the token inventor on that committee. Thank you.
What do you see as the biggest problem at the USPTO?
Well, they haven't been able to define what an abstract idea is, and that's actually stopped investors from coming aboard some of my projects because, gee, we're going to use some artificial intelligence. Oh no, that's an abstract idea. That, number one, has been so detrimental to who knows how many products and ideas in the last few years, especially. So I have a particular peeve with that issue. The lack of the no injunctive relief, the fact that somebody can outproduce you even though they've infringed on you and yet be awarded the rights to continue doing that, that's absolutely absurd. Those are my two biggest peeves of what's wrong with the patent system at the moment. We could go on.
What about fighting corporate giants? Is that a worthwhile endeavor?
Always. when you can bring to light how big a hypocrite they are, how they're working against the needs of the nation, you're scoring some major points. We are living in dangerous times for the fact that these mega corporations have taken over so many areas of our life and government, and even in this, the patent office, to be able to manipulate the system and turn it to where they have the advantages over the small inventor. It's been a plight. This whole issue with PTABs is a perfect example of the fact of something that should never have existed becoming the standard and the norm. And so I think there's a strong need, again, for inventors to stand up as individuals, representing the fact that it was independent inventors that made this country great. And we still stand to create things and do things and innovate things that mega corporations never will. And if we're not allowed those rights, this country will never benefit from those innovations. As long as we keep going back with a passion to show that there's logic in keeping this small American inventor alive and to keep them sustained and doing these things that make America great, I think we can have a loud voice that counters any of the oppositions, any of the corporations can bring up.
Maybe you'd like to talk about one of your inventions.
Oh, one. Okay. That's hard. Again,
Pick one.
well, my life has been based on people who actually found a problem in the industry they're working in and came to me with a concept for a solution, but the inability to actually create it and make it into something they can hand off and show off and raise funds for and go to market. I'll exclude all of those and just jump into some of the ones I created. Thin film solar cells, medical devices. I think the most effective one, the one that touched the most people personally, I was most involved with, was my wound treatment system. It was actually first conceived for some way of treating burns. I'm a researcher, a scientist. I'm self-taught on all these areas. I quickly learned the essentials for wound healing were hydration, oxygenation, and antimicrobial, and developed and patented a system that automatically delivered those things. Went ahead and started the company. Put machines in production and tested them all across the country with amazing results. We're helping people that have had wounds 6 to 8 years. We're healing them in 6 to 8 weeks. This was actually aimed more towards diabetic foot ulcers, the most difficult of kind of wounds to heal. It was quite an interesting exercise as we were moving along, because the business side of it is where we hit hard grounds. We would call wound care centers telling them we've got this amazing system. We can help treat their patients and relieve them of all their pains, and in fact, many cases save their lives. Every one of the wound care centers we called came back with the answer, well, you're going to heal them in 6 to 8 weeks. What's going to happen in the 12 to 14 weeks? We're not going to get our Medicare payment. So we learned and realized the ethics of the medical system were a lot to be desired there too. But it was an amazing exercise. It was 10 years of my life, and having touched the dozens and dozens of people who literally gave me thanks for saving their lives, if not their limbs, was one of the more rewarding products. I've certainly had some more fun ones, but deep down that had one of the greatest satisfactions that we created a process that would actually help people's lives.
Adrian, do you have anything else to add on any of these topics?
Yeah, I want to thank you and Randy both for having putting all this together, and do hope one of us gets nominated. Obviously, all of us have the same kind heart of thinking that our American system needs to be revived and needs to bring back the rights of the American inventor, especially the small American inventor. I want my kid to know that when her kid grows up, that child will pursue happiness in the way that it was intended, and have the ability to prosper off the rights of their ideas. And because these essentials of the country are now being challenged, and if we don't revert that, there is no future hope for American kids in this country. It's drastic, it's important, and if nominated, I will do my darndest to represent the spirit and heart of the independent American inventor. One more thing, I have been very active in creating another organization here in South Carolina that will be very similar to the San Diego Inventors Forum, and one of the cornerstones is to bring awareness and education to the local populace about what's going on with patent laws and rights. Thank you.
Adrian Pelkus, your turn.
Well, yes, thanks again for having me, and this discussion has been very interesting. I would like to represent the interest in the heart of the small American inventor to pursue the idea that this was a country started on the fact that we have rights to our labors of our mind. We need to restore those rights, to restore the belief that this can in fact be a great country again. Patents made America great. Let's make the patent system great again. Thank you.